Okay, let me remind you again. My name, Ron Bannon. My email address, B as in boy, the @ symbol, NNON.US. When I first read problem number 16, I thought it was a mistake. Not because of the root 2, by the way. I thought it was a mistake because the bottom is, it's a funny factorization of it. And I was thinking that the prior problems are really quite simple. I want to review the factorization of the bottom, though. And by the way, it's not an irreducible quadratic. This has definitely real roots to it. So I'm going to go through what I would like to say is the factorization of it, and then I'll go to the key and we'll talk about what the next step is. So I would factor 9 out from the x squared and from the 6x. And if you factor from 6x, well, 9 times what would give you 6? That would be 6 over 9, right? And that reduces to 2/3. I'll leave a little space because I'm going to complete the square, and then there's a -1 over here. All right? Let me get my eraser out. Again, I'm going to erase this. I don't need that anymore. And I'll erase this over here. I want to see if that's true, though. You get 9x squared. You get 6x minus 1. You get the bottom. Now I'm going to complete the square. How do you do that? You take half of the 2/3, which is 1/3. You square it, which is 1/9. And this now would become a perfect square. But I've actually changed the problem. I've actually added 1 to it. So I got to subtract it away. All right? Now, again, if you look at this over here, this is identical to this over here. Now, this is a perfect square now. What is going to be 9, and that's going to be x plus 1/3 squared, and minus 1 is -2. And then what I notice is a difference of perfect squares. I'll write that down for you. This is 3x plus 1/3 squared minus the square root of 2 squared. So it's a difference of perfect squares. Let's write this down then. What's it going to be? 3x plus 1/3 minus root 2, and then 3x plus 1/3 plus root 2. So if you look at this thing, what do you get? 3x plus 1 minus root 2. And over here, you get 3x plus 1 plus root 2. Now, I realize someone's going to argue, I could have done that by using the quadratic formula. I'm not saying you couldn't have. All I'm saying is that's the linear factors now. I want to point out these are written down. I would say if you got to that stage of the game, that's an accomplishment for most students. All right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this, baby work up here. We really don't need this anymore. Let's erase it. And let's talk about the next step. I don't know if I want to follow through the whole problem, though. And to be honest with you, the arithmetic is a little bit tedious on it. But what I want to talk about is, what are you supposed to do now? Well, you're supposed to multiply both sides by the LCD. I want to point out this here is the LCD, and the product of those two denominators gives you the 9x squared plus 6x minus 1. So if you did the multiplication, I want to write it down for you. It looks really kind of nasty to me. It would give you 18x minus 4 root 2 equals, and then I got this really kind of nasty problem over here. And I'll tell you what I'd get. I'd get a times 3x plus 1 plus root 2 plus the b times 3x plus 1 minus root 2. And I think you probably know what I want to do now. I want to pick an x that makes my life easy, but I got to be honest with you. For a lot of people, it's not going to make their life easy. It's going to make it a nightmare. And I understand that, by the way. But I'm going to say, when does 3x plus 1 plus root 2 equal 0? Well, I'll write that down for you. I'm going to erase it, though. When does 3x plus 1 plus root 2 equal 0? Well, I'll write it down. It's 3x would equal minus 1 minus root 2, and then x would equal minus 1 minus root 2 over 3. This is a good choice for x, by the way. I'm going to write a little differently for you. So I'm going to put down minus 1 plus root 2 over 3. This would be a good choice for x. Now, you may not agree with that, but that's a good choice for x. Let me see if I can do that. And if I did that, I want to point out this is a good choice for x. Let me go up here and make that good choice for x and see what happens. And for example, on the left side, 18 times that would be minus 6 times that, times the top, which would give you, I'll write this down, it would give you minus 6. Again, I'm doing 18 times that number. It would give you, 3 goes in 18 6 times, so minus 6 root 2. And that would be minus 4 root 2. Now, what's nice about that is the first term with the coefficient a on it would disappear. I mean, if you multiply, what would you get? You get minus 1 minus root 2. That would just give you a 0. Let's do the second one. Let's see what happens over there. And it's going to be nice for me. And what do you get? Well, I would get minus 1 minus root 2 plus 1 minus root 2. What do you get? That's pretty simple, isn't it? You get minus 1 plus 1 is nothing. You get minus 2 root 2s. All right? So let me just get this junk work erased over here. I got to keep working on it, and I got to figure out what the b is. I think the b is going to be easy, by the way. I could be wrong, though. This is going to be minus 6 minus 10 root 2 divide by minus 2 root 2, and that equals b. Now, I don't like the way that looks, so I'm gonna try to simplify it, and that's going to be, I'm going to divide through by 2, minus 2, so you can get 3 plus 5 root 2, and I divide it by minus 2, right? So root 2. I can multiply top and bottom by root 2, and what do you get there? Oh boy, let's see what you get. You're going to get 3 root 2 plus 10 over 2. All right? And that's what the b is. So I'm going to claim that really wasn't so bad. And I want to point out where that is. It's right over here. 3 root 2 plus 10. And I took the 2 and multiplied the bottom by that. And what would you get? 6x plus 2 root 2. So I feel good about that, all right? Now someone says, what are you going to do now? And I realize I'm kind of just doing kind of scratchy work over here, but I think I'm okay with the b. I want to see if I get the a, right? So I'm going to erase some of the work. I'm going to erase this over here. And to get the a, what I need to do is I need to get that, the b thing to disappear. So I need 3x plus 1 minus root 2 to be equal to 0. And I think that's relatively simple to do. What do you get? 3x equals root 2 minus 1, or x would equal, let's see, root 2 minus 1 over 3. All right? Now, by the way, we got the b already. I'm going to write that down for you, but I am going to erase that work up there. But the b turned out to be 3 root 2 plus 10 over 2. Let me erase this work up here. I'm kind of done with it. And by the way, I'm checking in my key, and someone says, well, that's all fine, but is the key right? Well, you could check my key if you like. Anyway, let's take a look at this. I got to plug it in. So when I multiply 18 times, and again, I want to point out, this is the number I'm interested in now. Oh boy, I didn't mean to do that. This is the number I'm interested in. And I got to do it. And let's see what we get over there. Well, 18 times that number would be 6 root 2. And let's see, then you get minus 6. And then minus 4 root 2. Here comes the tough part. It's going to be a. I don't know what a is. It's going to be root 2 minus 1 plus 1 plus root 2. Now the b guy is going to be b times, well, if I do that, it's going to be root 2 minus 1 plus 1 minus root 2. It's going to be 0. Well, that's exactly what I wanted. All right, and that's why I did that. I'm going to erase this over here now. And then I got to do my work. What's it going to be? Well, let's take a look. You're going to get 2 root 2 minus 6 equals a. Now this thing over there, 1's disappearing, I get 2 root 2s. So I'll just divide both sides by 2 root 2. Well, it's really almost looks like the same thing, doesn't it? Divide through by 2. You get root 2 minus 3 over root 2. I'm going to rationalize this by multiplying top and bottom by root 2. And what do you get? 2 minus 3 root 2 over 2. And that's what the A is. So I want to make sure I put that down, barring any errors. But I do see the 2 minus 3 root 2 for the A. And the bottom, I multiplied the bottom here by the number 2. And what would you get? 6x, because 2 times 3x, 6x. 2 times 1 is 2, and minus 2 root 2. Things are working out beautifully. All right? Again, when I first read this, I felt there was a typographical error. No typographical error, though. Wells wrote a problem there that probably caused a lot of confusion for people doing the problem set, thinking, why aren't they working like the other ones? They do work like the other ones. What was difficult, though? The numbers were difficult. The factoring was difficult. That was difficult. All right? Thank you for paying attention, though.